The Hawaii State Legislature has reached the halfway point of the 2013 session, and all eyes are on the possible repeal of the Public Land Development Corporation.
You're selling it down the tubes.
Last year, the PLDC was met with community outrage after being quietly signed into law the year before.
Legislatively, I believe I now have the power. Legislatively, to be able to act in concert with you.
It was key legislation in Governor Neil Abercrombie's New Day Hawaii plan intended to foster public-private partnerships in the development of harbors, parks, and other lands held in trust by the cash-strapped Department of Land and Natural Resources.
We're not going to be going through all kinds of separate departmental silos any longer for permits and all the rest of it that takes place, all of the things that can get in the way of the concept of whatever is out there. And the Public Lands Development Corporation will allow us, I think, to synthesize a lot of those things, right? The development side of DL&R.
The governor, being the leader of this Democratic Party, is going to take us there. It's a new day, and we're both aboard, and we're going to do all we can as senators and representatives.
We have 1.7 million acres of public lands that belong to the people of this great state, and 700,000 are located here on the island of Hawaii.
So wake up!
During public hearings over the proposed administrative rules for the new entity, testifiers lashed out.
I will not have a dictator agency in this stupid state,
Demanding nothing short of a repeal of the law.
It sells out the aina, the culture, and the people to local and transnational corporations. PLDC should be abolished.
We're seeing a trend of privatization of everything. Everything is a commodity. And it's trashing the lands and sticking the taxpayers to clean up corporate messes. I second the motion that the PLDC should be abolished, not amended with rules.
Legislators, some newly elected, got the message. Presently, there are 2 bills in the works that would achieve the goal of repeal. Senate Bill 707 Draft 2 would do the job. It also transfers PLDC employees and assets to the DL&R. That bill has been voted through to the House and has been referred to the House Committees on Water and Land and Finance. At the same time, House Bill 1133, which does the same thing, now waits for its Senate committee hearings, having passed through the House. State representatives gave their final approval on February 14th during this floor session. Here are some of the comments made by lawmakers during the vote, available for viewing on the Capitol's official website.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would first like to thank the members of the Water, Land, and Finance Committee who met on February 9th for a very long hearing that we had on this particular measure. And I also want to thank the public who wrote testimony and also came out to that hearing, and people who flew from around the state to come to that hearing. It was very clear after the hearing that overwhelmingly there was opposition to keeping the current status, which was keeping the Public Land Development Corporation. House Bill 1133 repeals Act 55, Session Laws of Hawaii 2011, which established the Public Lands Development Corporation. One of the problems I think that came about was clearly the way it was structured. The public really came to a point of understanding that the authority that we gave the corporation, in fact, bypassed county plans and subdivision and zoning codes. And so what happened was the public felt they had no say in what was going to happen in their community. So there was this outcry of where's home rule. You know, during this last year, many of us spoke to our constituents across the state. And one of the things that always came up was, what are you going to do about the Public Land Development Corporation? We do not trust what in fact is in law. And I think when we had the hearing, it became very obvious that the constituency across the state overwhelmingly said, this corporation is not a good idea. Some people thought we could amend it. Some people thought we could fix it. There was actually bills on the agenda at our hearing that was amendments to the current law. And overwhelmingly people said, you can try as hard as you want to fix it, but the reality is we don't trust what's going on. You just have to wipe it out. Now, the original idea of this law, I think, had some good intentions, and that is we have some unused state land in locations where we have maybe some demand for services. And so that land has potential of providing things that the community wants, but we don't in-house have the expertise to do that. So this whole attempt of the Public Land Development Corporation was to have a public-private partnership so that we could actually go out and meet the needs and the demand that may be out there, and the state land happens to be in the right location. So I think conceptually it sounded good, but when the law itself came out, it came out in a manner that became very unacceptable to people. And so in closing, I want to point out what is democracy. Democracy allows eligible citizens to participate equally, either directly or through elected representatives, in the proposal, development, and creation of laws. It encompasses social, economic, and cultural conditions that enable the free and equal practice of political self-determination. I believe the public spoke loudly through each one of our members of this legislative body, and I think overwhelmingly through the members, they came out and said, we cannot have Public Land Development Corporation. I believe democracy was well served by passing House Bill 1133. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, as the former speaker said, this really is a victory for the people of Hawaii. In 2011, this bill was changed in the final hours of the legislature. A few members caught it, but the majority of us didn't, and voted to establish the Public Land Development Corporation. As the public began to become aware of this, that this would allow private development of our precious state lands without the normal environmental and county oversight being in play, it worked out that the public really mobilized more than on any issue I've seen in the last 23 years, and spoke out loudly and said, repeal the PLDC. It's a bad law. We want to get rid of it. And to the credit, this body has done that. And I believe that we have held the trust and the faith with the public. I give a great deal of credit to the public that stepped forward and spent so much time on this issue. And I also want to give special mention to the Sierra Club for its creativity with its site called Grand Theft Ina. Those 3 words said it all. And it really is a wonderful day today, Mr. Speaker, to be able to stand up in strong support of repealing the PLDC, a law that never should have become enacted, and now we're correcting that problem.
Speaker, I too was one of those who were hoodwinked by the PLDC covert operations that were in the middle of the night. They get that out, and then in the next day in the rush to get everything through, we missed it. But the public, fortunately, the public, and I think some of the media following the public, made that happen. My point of speaking for it, Mr. Speaker, is this. This is a teachable moment, because there are sons and daughters of the PLDC still alive in this body. There's a PLDC Harbors, there's a PLDC DOE, which we are going to be taking up. So as we speak about, hey, we're doing the right thing and killing the PLDC, there's some of its keikis that are still out there that we need to be alert to. Thank you, Speaker.
I definitely do admire the innovative effort that went into the thought processes that did bring about the PLDC. It's just kind of reminiscent of sometimes in class where you come out with a different way of solving a problem and it doesn't work out so well, so you get whacked really hard on the head, so nobody else wants to try and find a new innovative way to solve the problem. We have enormous challenges in this state. And I admire at least those who went out on a limb to try and solve some of the financial problems within our community, within our state, without having to reach into the pockets of the working mothers and fathers that we have that are struggling out there, that I interact with on a daily basis. So even though I do support the repeal of the PLDC, I hope this doesn't discourage any legislator from leaving no corner, no stone unturned in search of new ways in which we can resolve the fiscal challenges we have within the great state of Hawaii in the service of our people. And this was one way that didn't work out so well, but I certainly hope that this doesn't discourage anybody from latching on to that spirit of entrepreneurship and adventure to find some new way to serve our people and not hurt the working families.
Quote the words of the Minority Leader Emeritus, that this is indeed a teachable moment where a future legislature has undone the past promises of a past legislature.
Quick comment. It was really clear when the public came out, especially in my district, that they said, you know, no, a'ole, try again. And I'm really proud to be a member of this legislature that listened to them, and I'm going to be very proud and excited to cast my vote in the affirmative.
And I also would like to thank the other chairs who were willing to waive off or to make considerations so that we can you know, make it a little bit more of an expedient hearing. And we wanted to thank all the members for showing up for a long hearing, and thank the public for participating in this process, and additional written comments.
So I'd like to thank everybody in the House of Representatives for moving forward this bill and for doing the right thing that we need to do and to correct our mistake for what had been done in the past year on the Public Land Corporation. And mahalo again. Thank you again. Mahalo.